Good afternoon. I'm just trying to make sure that things. Okay. So welcome to the IMBRSea. So apparently, a minute. Make sure that camera works properly. I think. No problem. Okay, voila, the camera works now as well. So good afternoon, welcome to the IMBRSea webinar, which we organize always every year at the start of the academic year, or just before the start of the academic year, to introduce new selected students actually to what is coming up for the program. Next to me you see Julia Young, which is one of the students actually the first year, and later on during the webinar we will have two more students, current students, that will be joining, and they will be joining because they have studied in different starting universities. So for the question and answer sessions later on, for example, this will be much easier in order that the right answers can be given also from a student's point of view. So this webinar will consist of three parts. First part will be kind of a general short presentation where I want to go over a number of things. Second part will be a new tool that we want to present to you, which is called the IMBRSea Compass, which is an online tool that Julia developed during her professional practice, and that you will be able to use already actually before the start of your academic year. And then the third part will be questions and answer session. I see that the chat box works very well. So the whole idea is that you post your questions through the chat box, and that after the presentation, we actually will go through the question one by one and answer them. So hoping that they will make some unclarities very clear to you. So let me know, share my screen. You won't see me anymore, so don't worry. I'm still there, we're still here, but we just will switch now to getting my screen. Presentation. So welcome to IMBRSea. We're today the 20th of May, so it means within a few months' time you will actually be really starting this program. So the content of this presentation is a little bit of background about IMBRSea, something on the selection and enrollment procedures that are still to come, something on the mobility, some information on the joint events and activities. These are all things you can also find, of course, on our website, and then the questions and answers as I promised. Just maybe good for you to know is that IMBRSea stems from another Erasmus Mundus program that we initiated in 2008, and that program was called IMBRSea. IMBRSea turned into IMBRSea Plus, and in around 2013, actually, we decided, okay, we have to rethink this master program, and we have to try again to get funding from the EU, and that's actually how IMBRSea got into place. Maybe good to know is that there's in total 450 students that obtained a IMBRSea diploma, a joint diploma, between the participating universities at that time. So at that time we had 6 participating universities, including, for example, also Bremen University, which is no longer a partner in the current consortium. IMBRSea is also considered as the flagship program, master program of IMBRSea. So a lot of acronyms, I know. IMBRSea stands for the European Marine Biological Resource Center, which is a European infrastructure, marine research infrastructure, so where different countries kind of join their research agendas on marine biological resources. So in that sense, IMBRSea is supported by a lot of top marine research institutions, for example, thesis work or professional practice, but also covers a lot of the thematic areas that are also covered by IMBRSea. Now, if we just look at the number of students, maybe this is nice to see, is this is the first cohort of students that started in 2017 in the new program. And in 2017, we had around 96 students that started. And there was immediately a steep increase compared to our IMBRSea program. Reasons for that are, let's say, many more universities that are involved, a changed mobility track, but also I think the close link to employment, the employment sector, for example, is by students at least also often mentioned as quite important. Last year, so the current cohort of students that is studying the first year consists of 106 students. Here you see the distribution. So you see that it's quite a global program. Global program with students originating really from every corner of the world. Can immediately say also that is the largest existing program, international existing program in marine sciences in terms of numbers of students, but also in terms of universities that are and institutions actually that are participating in the program. This is your cohort. At least that we hope that will become your cohort, because we're still in the process, of course, of people registering or finally registering, doing the payment of the participation fees. But this is a bit how the total number of students look like. We have in total 130 students that have said that they wish to continue with their enrollment. Based on previous experiences, there may still be, we might expect that some students in the end do not get through, mainly sometimes for financial or other personal reasons. So I think in the end, I expect to end up with something like 115 students that will participate in your cohort. So just to give you some statistics, so we of the 130 current students, we have 16 that will receive an Erasmus Mundus scholarship. So 16 of them actually were ranked on the top of the ranking list, and 114 indicated to be willing to start as self-funding students. 47 nationalities, which is an immense number of nationalities. That's also what we see actually in the live chat box. Let's say there's greetings from all over the world ending up in the chat box. And then let's say the top countries for Europe are Germany and Spain. And then outside Europe, for example, we have Canada, Mexico, and the US, who have each of them something like 5-6 students that will start next year. Specialization tracks, you have been informed already, or are just very recently or in the past weeks, which specialization track is selected for you, or that you selected. So in total, 44 students will start in this specialization track on applied marine ecology and conservation. 21 will go in the global ocean change track. 24 will go in the management of living marine resources. 32 marine environment health, and finally 5 for marine food production, which is quite a balanced distribution of the students over the different tracks, which is also in a way good to ensure that everybody will be able to carry out their studies in the best possible conditions. For the first semester universities, which have also been assigned already, these are the current numbers. So for the University of the Algarve, 43 students will start in Portugal. 15 will go to Brest in France. Ghent will receive 47 students. And finally, Oviedo will receive 23 students. The second semester mobility is then what you see here at the bottom. Here we didn't divide them with specialization track because it's more interesting to actually show what is possible here. There might still be a few changes because for GMIT, for example, normally the minimum number of students in order to open the specialization should be 5. So that we will still see how this goes, let's say in the coming weeks, for example. But these are the current numbers. You see that in Italy, for example, there's a huge number of students that want to go there, which is okay, because in the past years, actually, they also managed to actually offer the training in a good way to such a group, a big group of students. I just show you this map, which is a map that is constantly evolving. It's also the map that you can find back on our website, but it's the map of the different partner universities that are partners, let's say, that are active in the program. We have the orange dots, which are the universities, the participating universities. And then we have all the red dots, an increasing number of red dots, which are research institutions, industries, NGOs, you name it, that are all kind of the associate partners to our program. And these are institutions to which students can go for thesis and professional practice. Now, this scheme is a scheme probably that you have seen probably already a few times during your application process, but it's a scheme that illustrates very well how the program is structured. Very important, I think, is the orange blocks. Orange blocks are the ones that are commonly decided by the whole consortium of all the universities that are participating. So independently where you studied from your mobility, for example, the evaluation criteria, the courses that are potentially offered are exactly the same for every student. So it means that it's only for 2 modules of 18 credits actually that you really will specialize in one of the different partner universities, with a specific teaching, for example, with specific exam regulations and so on in these modules. You choose already your specialization track. Important again. The aim is that you stay in your blue track, for example. If you choose for management, then during the whole program you will stay in the blue band. So it means, for example, in the first or in the second semester you can choose between Oviedo and the Algarve, and in the third semester, for example, you have 3 options that you can choose from to actually carry out in that track. So that's very important that you stay in, because else we can simply not provide you with a legal diploma, because the diploma requires a specific specialization in a certain track. Okay. Now, this is also taken from the website, so I decided to take things from the website because then you can easily find things back if you want to reread a number of things later on. So the orange blocks are, as I said, the compulsory common elements for everyone, and then the specialization is something you choose. If you click on one specialization, then you will see immediately the specific learning outcome for the specialization. You can see which partners are involved. And very important, I think, is also from an employment point of view, for example, these are the sectors after having done that specialization, in which most probably, for example, you will be able to find a job. Now, before I go in detail on more specifics, something on the selection and enrollment process. So the first deadline, as many of you know, and many have applied by then, was the 1st of March 2019. In total, we have received 275 applications. And after a first check on diploma, language criteria, and so on, and completeness of the whole file, so including also, for example, CV in the correct format, we retained 227 students. These were reviewed. So each student was reviewed by the selection board. The selection board is kind of a circulating board where four different partner universities take part in. So Ghent University, because they are coordinator, we are not part of the selection board. So we don't select and evaluate students. We're only there, let's say, to review the whole process and to make sure that from an administrative point of view, everything is correctly followed up. So every student was evaluated by at least 2 different evaluators on the different selection criteria, which are your CV, your diploma, for example, motivation, and also the statements that we received from the referees that you have indicated. Overall, 152 students out of the 227 were retained to be kind of acceptable to the program. 13 received a scholarship, 13 not from the EU received a scholarship from Erasmus Mundus, and 3 students with an EU nationality got an Erasmus scholarship as well. Now, the second deadline, we had a second deadline for students from the EU, for example, that because in many countries in the EU, let's say the selection deadlines and application deadlines are much later, and students often during their bachelor studies, for example, they do not have a clue yet where they want to go studying, for example. So for the second deadline, we received 39 applications, and 25 out of these 29 were actually found to be eligible again. Now, once you are eligible, everybody received kind of the invitation to confirm his application. and also to indicate, okay, the priorities, the choices of mobility. And on the basis of that, you have now all received a letter of acceptance by the consortium, and very soon you will also be contacted by the starting universities. You will receive letters of invitation, but also you will meet via email probably the local coordinators. So that's expected in May, for example, that these universities will start with. Very important, and many of you have, of course, already logged in to this, the IMBRSea Student page, which is connected to the same platform as where you have applied. And we use that student page in order to sometimes to organize ourselves within the program from an organizational point of view. So not from a course content point of view, but really from an organizational point of view. It's a communication tool, but we expect you and we ask you now and then throughout the program also to submit in due time correct information about certain things, for example, to make sure that it can arrange everything. It's also a repository for the documents. So, for example, the letter, the acceptance letter, is uploaded in a form. You will find the documents for download. So if you go to the section documents for download, there you will find, for example, now already at least your acceptance letter. And the number of documents will just gradually increase during your studies. You also find transcripts after your first academic year, for example, or invitation letters for certain universities, for example, can also be uploaded there. So if you lose something in your email, there's always one point where you can go back to find that specific document. Now, further on for the enrollment process, so we need legalized, so official documents like diplomas, for example, at the IMBRSea coordination office by post. So we need them on paper, for students that are non-EU citizens. By today was the deadline. So some students asked for an extension, but please do this as soon as possible, because else we cannot proceed on a formal point of view with your further enrollment. And this has a strong impact, for example, on potential insurances, also organization, reservation of classrooms, all this kind of thing. So this is really the key important thing. We do not ask for this at the moment of application, because else too many students send the documents, and this has sometimes also an extra cost involved. So we only do this after you have been accepted. So please make this a priority and make sure that everything arrives correctly in due time. What it exactly means, legalized documents, you can find on the website, for example, links that explain you very clearly what is exactly meant by what needs to be done if you're a specific student with a specific case. Also, for example, the self-funding students, so the students that pay themselves and not the scholarship student, will also have received or are receiving these days the first request for the first part of the invoice. And so we ask you as well, there the deadline is the 21st of May, which is tomorrow, to really pay this, because it's on the basis of that payment that we will continue with you as a student or not. So that's for us the security that you will really continue. It's also based on previous experiences that we also spend too much administrative work and time on students that do never show up. So please pay that 1,000 euro by the deadline, so you will then be continued as or considered as a student in our program. As soon as you have paid, you will also receive your email account of IMBRSea. So the email account is a first name dot last name at imbrsea.eu. And that email account is an email account you will be having for at least the duration of your studies. And also after you have graduated, we plan to keep that email account open for at least 1 to 2 years. That email account gives you also access to the full Google suite, including, for example, quite an extensive cloud service for storing documents. And students, and I think they can witness on this, use this on a very regular and a very important basis. So the second part of the invoice then, will be sent via a regular invoice later on during June, and there the final payment deadline is at the beginning of August 2020. Okay, mobility in IMBRSea. There's a lot of mobility possibilities, and there it's again the advice: make sure you know what you start to do, because often, let's say, it sounds very exciting to be mobile constantly and to move every semester to another university, but also keep in mind that this requires sometimes a lot of administrative and organizational burden that you have to deal with, aside, of course, the things you have to complete within your study program. So first semester and mobility is done, so that's why I put a smiley face there. Also, your thematic module is chosen. There's also a smiley. And then the semester 2, for example, professional practice. That's the orange block that you see on top there, for example. That's something that you will decide by November of the first year. So November, you will get a catalog of different internship or professional practice opportunities where you can select from. So that's no worries right now. Also, the third semester, for example, will only be chosen by January of next year. So still some time there as well. So no worries on that aspect. Then finally, your thesis, for example, the current first year students are now struggling or have been struggling on making sure they can find an appropriate thesis subject. So thesis is something you negotiate yourself with a potential supervisor. And again, that's around May, June, that deadline is for that selection. Let me go quickly over some of the joint events. Yeah. So a first joint event is the fundamentals module, and Julia will in a minute also present, for example, some preparation tools that she has been developing just to guide you a bit more in that first semester, this first common semester. Important, so it's a number of courses that are exactly the same in terms of learning outcomes at all the participating universities. The way teachers are offering, of course, is a bit depending on the teacher itself. So, for example, for statistics, quantitative methods, for example, you will all get the same thematics, for example. You will all be using R statistics, but of course, the examples and how the content is offered will differ a bit from the teacher that is offering it. Same, for example, marine ecology. In Belgium, you do an excursion, for example, to sandy beaches, while if you're in Portugal, most probably you will there visit the local nature reserve and the marinas that are there. Every university has also some transferable skills courses. These are 3 ECTS that you can follow on a specific transferable skill, which is useful for anything. So that's also, of course, specific to each university. For Ghent, for example, these are language courses, or of course we have on graphical design and photography. Those kind of things are involved there. Okay, the professional practice then. That's a 2-month period after Easter, where the idea is that you become familiar with, okay, what it is to work as a marine professional in different roles in different institutions. Some students right now are in the Seychelles, whilst others are here at Ghent University doing their professional practice. So there's a lot of possibilities there to kind of get used to what it could be to be a marine scientist when you graduate. So again, the list of topics not available 2018, sorry, but 2019. And the evaluation there is done by an online portfolio and an exhibition at which you show what you have done to your colleague. Twice in the program, you will attend an annual symposium. That's the last week of June that we organize this. So this year, the annual symposium takes place in Brest, in France. And in the annual symposium, we have 2 days of workshops offered by different companies, institutions, and then also 2 days of symposium. And during the symposium, students of the second year will actually present their theses. And so if you want to witness this year already what the students are presenting, yeah, this will be possible because the whole symposium is also streamed online on the internet. So you will be able to follow each of the presentations. And during that symposium, of course, we have also different board meetings and also the exhibition of the professional practices. Important in terms of a cost point of view, if you're a starting student, this is quite important for you, I think, is that there is no extra cost for you to attend the symposium. So the only thing you have to keep in mind is the transport. So this is kind of an important element. So you have to get there by yourself. Yeah, but then accommodation, food, and all this kind of things are foreseen and are covered by the participation. During the summer, so between year 1 and year 2, we organized the so-called joint summer school of the program, and this takes place in the Van Leuven Center for Marine Sciences in Tjärnö in Sweden. It's a fantastic marine station with an immense potential in terms of facilities, but also in terms of habitat that you can visit. We do research there, but research where it's a bit the flipped classroom principle we use there. So actually you come up with ideas and students do the full design, and teachers are only there actually to guide you or to give you advice if needed. There's also a few lectures, there's field experience, and we do lots of science communication training as well during the summer school, sorry. Many students indicated the summer school, let's say, as the top experience of the whole program, because it's also the experience where you unite as one group together. Then during the third semester, we have one online course that everybody has to take as well. And we consider it a bit as a course in which you prepare yourself for a number of technical and practical skills related to doing your thesis. And it goes from project management up to data and information management, but also scientific communication, for example, is part of this. There's a lot of hands-on exercises and the use of innovative ways to actually evaluate the things you're doing. Important when you sign up for the preparation tool that Julia will present in a minute, for example, it's the same platform that is used. So once you're in that online platform, for example, also within 2 years' time, so like some time from now, you will be using actually the same platform. Yeah. Then finally, you have the thesis research, and that's kind of a really personal research experience. So there you have the time. 30 ECTS corresponds to 1 semester, to really develop your own topic as one of the IMBRSea partners, main or associates. And the idea is that you present your final thesis in the format of a manuscript. A manuscript which is ready or almost ready, actually also for publication in a peer-reviewed journal. Not the aim that you already submitted at the time of the submission of your thesis, but it's the idea that in case you have a good thesis, for example, the step towards really publication of the data should go very easy. You will also present your thesis during the annual symposium. It's an open symposium, and as I mentioned already, it's streamed online. And there, the exercise or the point is that you learn and that you have the experience to present for a big audience, because let's say this coming symposium, we expect to have more than 200 students that are there, and then teachers and witnesses. So it's really a big event. So it also gives you the opportunity to witness what it is to present in front of a big audience. So in the coming months, what is coming up for you? First of all, submission of all the paper documents, as I mentioned already. For those that have to prepare for a visa, very important, check the website. And for each partner university, there is also a section, for example, on visa preparation. Also, you will be contacted by your starting university, and in that sense, you will also get further information on this. Start soon enough. We have every year students that wait too long, and due to that, they come too late for the start of the semester, and they get behind in this way often on lots of on the course, for example, and this has a negative impact again on their overall performance in the program. So that's very important. And also preparations for hosting and accommodation. Again, see the website with specific information per partner. But there, for example, if there's a deadline where you have to potentially register in order to get or to reserve a room, make sure you do this in time. Let's say to be in many universities, or for example in Ghent, we keep a certain slot on a number of rooms that you can get to a certain moment, for example, because then we have to open them to all students. So if you're not in time, then you lose the whole thing. Insurance. So during all the study activities, you're insured by at least Ghent University, because you're all enrolled at Ghent University, even if you're not physically here. So during the studies, for example, and also on the way to and back to your housing, for example, if an accident happens, for example, that's all covered by the insurance. Now, Beside that, you can also take a personal health insurance. Yeah, all the students that got a scholarship, for example, are by default provided with this health insurance. But students that are still looking for a proper health insurance, for example, there is one for about €1, less than €1 per day that they can subscribe to it. It's a really a full cover health insurance. We had experience with students in the past year that had serious health problems, for example, and we were amazed by the way this insurance really covering all the expenses that the student has due to that health problem. So, and then deadlines and key dates, information will be sent depending on your mobility. We also try to keep the website in that sense updated, but also there, I think it's important that you understand that we're often from a coordination point of view, depending on information that is sent by the partner university. So often we ask partner university, please send us this and these and these dates. And I must say students are often much more punctual than some of but that's a challenge of the program. So, but keep an eye on this, and as soon as we have updates on these things, we try to organize them in the best potential way. Okay. Before we go to questions and answers, because that's a bit my introduction, I would like to give the floor to Julia, who will actually present the online tool that she has been preparing in order to prepare yourself in the best possible way for starting the program.
Hi, everyone. Maybe before I start with preparing the actual tool, maybe I'll just give you a really quick introduction about myself, because I'll also be here for the question and answer session. So I'm from Germany originally. I did my first semester here in Ghent and my second semester in Oviedo. I'm in the management track. And yeah, as Tim said, I'm here now, well, again, for my professional practice. And I've been developing this tool because when I started last year, and I remember exactly this moment of sitting there and actually watching the webinar, uh, and I was thinking, well, how can I prepare now for the courses, especially knowing which subjects I had at my previous university, and I just really wanted to know how I could prepare or to make sure I had kind of the basic knowledge I would need to be able to follow all the courses in the first semester. So that's kind of why we created this tool. So it's an online course that you can subscribe to. It's completely voluntary. You can use it if you want to, but you don't have to at all. And it's not formally assessed in any way or part of your evaluation in any way. It's really just an offer of things that we thought would be helpful for you to start. So it has kind of three main components. The main part that it was built around are these like self-assessment tools, which are basically quizzes for some of the modules in the first semester that you can take, that really tells you kind of what the basic concepts or skills are that you should know, especially for marine genomics and for our statistics course. So the way it works is you can just, you take the quiz, you get a score at the end of it, and based on the score, we kind of put together a little recommendation list of material that you can look at if you want to help you kind of get up to the level that will make it really, easier for you to follow the courses when you start. I also put together a list of general academic resources that I think will be helpful for studying in any way that's not linked to specific subjects, but also some general useful resources in terms of practical things for each university, but also general practical things in terms of moving and mental health and just other things that me and some of these students thinks would be useful, really based from our experience. So to give you a little overview, so you'll see something like this for each of the fundamentals modules. So a little overview what it is about. If necessary, then there's a test where you can test your prerequisites. And for some modules, like for the statistics test, there's also some other material that you can work through in your own time and some exercises you can try. And like I said, really don't worry if you don't know things there at the moment. It's just to give you an introduction, but it's just to get you familiar with things beforehand. But it's not compulsory. It's just an offer that I think, and I guess we all think, would be helpful for you. Then there's, like I said, also some really practical things. So for each of your starting universities, I kind of pulled out the starter guides so that they're just available and easy to find for you and help you with all the practical information of moving to the new places. And also some really practical things that we and the other students just found super useful in terms of moving around, booking tickets, which is kind of the best mode of transport, sending your bags to a place. Just have a look. There might be something there that's useful for you. We all, I guess, current students use them, and they're helpful for us. So I think they should be helpful for you too. And then maybe really nice part also, I also added a cool inspirations list at the end because I guess what you're about to do and what I'm already doing at the moment is just really cool. And to me, it just the ability, that we can study marine biology. Whenever I tell people, oh, I'm doing this program, so many people are like, oh, that's amazing. I always wanted to be a marine biologist. So it's really cool that we have the chance to, I guess, live the dream of so many people. And I guess I just always want to remember that too. So together with the other students, we put together a list of cool books and podcasts and movies and just nice things to get inspired and I guess remember what a cool thing it is that we're doing. And so that's also there for you to look at if you want to. To sign up, that's, I guess, really important. So for actually using it, it's best if you sign up with your IMBRSea email account, which I guess you should get once you make the first payment, so in the next weeks. And once you have that, you go to the Ocean Teacher platform, so like it is here. And like Tim said, that's the same platform you'll be using later on for your thesis preparation. You'd click on login and create a new account, like on most, I guess, platforms where you sign up. What's really important is, so when you put in your information, like I said, make sure to sign up with your IMBRSea email account, but please also put in IMBRSea in the city/town field so that we know that you are all the new, IMBRSea students for approving you. So please do that. That's just super helpful for us. Then you get a confirmation email. And then there's two ways to actually enroll for the Compass. So the first way is you can just click on this link that I put here. Then you see an overview of the course, and on the right, where is the nice red box, you can just say enroll me in this course. Then you get to this page, and you just have to say enroll me again at the bottom, and then you're enrolled. You have access to all the quizzes and all parts of the tool. The other part, if for some reason you don't have the link, or so the second way of getting access to the tool is if you just go to Ocean Teacher and you search for all courses. Well, you click on the box at the top and then type in IMBRSea. Then you also see IMBRSea Compass, and you just click on the name, and you get to the same page that I showed you before, where you can enroll for the course. So that's for enrolling in the course. Once you have access to it, it's really important for us. Please do the first thing to do is to fill out the registration form. It just asks you to put in your IMBRSea application number and ask you a few questions about kind of what we can do once you sign up for it. But please do that first. That's really important for us. And then go and have fun and explore the rest of the page. And that's
Okay, thank you, Julia. So we really hope you will use this tool, and I think it's also important to state that this is a process. This tool, this is not something which is ready, and which we hope, for example, that next year maybe some of you will be willing to do also professional practice to kind of improve on this experience and to add more information. So for some of the courses, the things are much more developed than for others, but this is also based on a questionnaire that Julia did under the current students to actually to feel, okay, where are the courses that have most of the difficulties, for example, and so you will see that some are more workload than others. So see it as a tool that helps you, but please don't see it as something that's okay, an extra burden that you have to do. We ask you also whether we can use information, and that's the reason there is that it will allow us to link, for example, also for the future, for example, if we notice that you indicate some things that are difficult, for example, in the final section of the thing, and we can also link it back to your previous education, and that helps us also to fine-tune the tool for the coming closing notes on communication. So how do you communicate with us? Some have done this already. You use this email address. And this is the only one you use. We have also our own email addresses. So info@imbrsea.eu. And mention always in the email your application number. So 2018, 19, 17. So depending on which cohort you're in. For you, this should be 2019. If possible, yeah, make sure your emails, although we like it sometimes that you tell us more about yourself and that you express your feelings, but try to be condensed because you can imagine with program with in total more than 200 students in it, yeah, we often receive quite a lot of emails. And then it's sometimes good to have polite and clear to the point emails where you ask your question or where you comment on a certain issue. We use also social media. I can also tell something on that. We have a Facebook page, for example. There is an Instagram account. We have also a Twitter account, which is not used that much. I must say that social media are used, but are never an official communication channel. So you can post things on the Facebook groups, for example, on Facebook pages and all this kind of stuff. But from the official coordination, we will never use Facebook or other kind of tools, social media tools, for official statements or communication. So it's a tool for you. Another thing we will do, we will not provide you with a list of students, for example, for every university, but we create these kind of group lists. Group lists, for example, those students that will go to the Algarve in the first semester, we will create, once you have received your IMBRSea email list, for example, we will create one list 2019 Algarve semester 1 at imbrsea.eu. If you go to the second semester, of course, this will be again your cohort number. For example, Oviedo Sem 2, semester 2 at imbrsea.eu. Why don't we give all the details? Simply because of data privacy regulations that are, we are a European master program, so we keep, let's say, GDPR and privacy things are quite important to us as well. It's also the main reason why we don't use social media for official communication. Yeah? Okay, then now it's time for questions and answers, and Julia will collect also the other two students, so we are more students, so and that we can potentially give you the best answers. Yeah? Which one? Camera again. Also make sure that I open the questions and answers box. Okay. Okay. So yeah, can take chairs there. That's maybe the easiest. Yeah. So you see that two more students are joining. Maybe it's good that you briefly present yourselves, also your mobility, so people have an idea where you come from and what you have done. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Clyde Blanco. I'm from the Philippines, and I'm in the conservation track. And I did my first semester in Oviedo, Spain, my second semester here in Ghent, and my professional practice is also here.
Hi, I'm Luisa Campos. I'm from Brazil, and I on the management track. And my first semester I went to Faro in Portugal. Then the second semester I went to Oviedo in Spain, and now I'm doing my professional practice here in Ghent.
Yeah. Okay. So I assume we start with the first question. So a question from Laura Evenepoel. What to do if you didn't receive your invoice yet? That's mainly for students, for example, that have applied by the last deadline. So these invoices will be sent out this week. Don't worry, you will get it. I have not received the generic email account. That's correct. We will check the first invoice payments tomorrow. Yeah, and on Wednesday we will create the first bunch of emails. So on Wednesday, lots of you, all those that have paid or that have a scholarship, will receive the information on their email account. Where do we have to pay the first invoice? Normally the email kind of states it quite clearly, kind of can just pay by visa or electronic payment on the basis of an email you get with the payment information. So if by tomorrow you have not received or you still have more questions, we advise you actually to take contact with us via the generic email address info@imbrsea.eu. Then Daila Guerra, is there someone from Spain that I could add on Facebook to talk about the master, whether they're going to Brest the first semester? I think if you just spread the things on Facebook, we will also be accepting people that have asked for an account on the Facebook group, for example. Yeah, because we now know who you are, for example, it's easier because we just don't add everyone to the closed group, so that can be posted there. Okay. Then there's a professional practice question from Vivian Jager. Is the professional practice going to take place in the country you stayed during your second semester? In principle, you're free to choose there. So you're free to choose because the offer we get is quite diverse, and at least in every country that you go to, you can do your professional practice, but we see that students also often do not stay. If they just look here, for example, none of these three students stayed in their second semester.
I did.
Except Clyde. Clyde also took his second semester and he didn't count. The next one is the professional practice restricted to EU, research groups or companies, or also international. It's also international again. We have people in the Seychelles, in Australia, and Latin America. They're really all over the place, but also luckily some stay in Europe. So and it's both at partner universities, in companies, and the diversity is really very, very good. Will there be any visa requirements for the professional practice at summer school? Will the Schengen visa be sufficient? So for the summer school, Schengen visa is normally enough because Sweden also belongs to the Schengen zone, and it's also a very short period that you stay for the summer school. The professional practice there again depends. It's a case by case issue, because if you would say I want to go to Australia, of course you have to get a visa to go to Australia. The advice often is also keep it feasible for yourselves, so that in terms of visa issues you do not end up in trouble. I know because there's these two people here that have dealt with visa. Do you want to add something on this?
Usually, like for the second semester, the school would, in their letter, they would provide that your duration would be until the professional practice. So when you apply for the visa, then your professional practice is also covered when you apply for it.
Yeah. So next question is by Wilson. Should I start the visa procedure for the second semester as soon as possible? We advise it always, yes, of course, as soon as possible. But wait until you receive the formal letters, for example, and invitation letters. And there might be updates as well. So I don't think it's already time now to start preparation for your second semester visa. I think just make sure at least that for the first semester, all the things are properly done.
I think for the second semester, you apply in your the country where you are currently residing.
Yeah. Next. There's going to be a thematic group Facebook where students can meet before the students start the student. So there's the official Facebook group, but apart also you're of course free to set up other groups as well. So it's not from a program point of view that we set up for every small group, and I think you have set up also separate groups on Facebook.
Yeah, actually that was the best thing I think from the general Facebook group. We made there's a Facebook group for just our year, and then from that group we just made WhatsApp group for each semester, and that actually worked best and was also the kind of best and easiest way for people to communicate. So that's probably the easiest for you to do too.
And for those that have on scholarship, for example, will insurance be provided automatically or have to be specified eligibility? So the insurance is automatically arranged, so nothing to do for you. And a question from Kat Griswold. Yes. Okay, that was the answer to it. Thanks. That's easy. conservation track. The answer, marine conservation track, for example, in Ancona, yeah, you have to be careful there because scientific diving, yeah, is actually not really taking place because of insurance issues, let's say, and also, so although it's indicated in one of the course descriptions, we're actually right now doing the updates of that, and we hope in the next weeks to have the updated course description. But in Faro, for example, in the Algarve, I think we can witness on this as well.
Yeah, in Faro, it's an extra class you can take, and it's separate, but it's in the university itself, and then you can do the basic, or you can do the basic plus the scientific diving. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you have to pay extra also.
Yeah, you have to pay extra for this course, but it can count also for your transferable skills. Yeah, that's maybe also good too. When exactly does the first semester again start? You will be told, of course, in the coming weeks, but it will be the third week of September that the classes officially start. So we expect you to be here around mid-September, and then the third week of September we really start. And I think it should be already on the website. If not, you will for sure be informed in due time when you're expected. I'm interested in hearing more about the types of professional practices that have been done in the past. Oh, really a lot of different opportunities. One of the things we could potentially do, we have to be careful not to mention names of students, but to provide a list of the topics. Or
actually, on the IMBRSea Instagram, we've been showcasing some of the students, and want to do that more also in the next weeks. Exactly doing that, showing like the students on their professional practice.
Yeah, the Instagram page of IMBRSea, for those that are not following yet, is the account.
I think it's IMBRSea official.
Yeah, IMBRSea official. Yeah, so if you follow that one, for example, you will really see a lot of the things that are actually going on right. I don't know about you guys, but the sound is very low to me. Yeah, okay. Hope it's kind of solved in the meantime. At this stage, without admission letter from university, how can we arrange accommodation? So again, every university will contact you individually when you go to, for example, to give you guidelines on that. They did not do yet. Don't worry at the moment. On the other hand, once you're on the Facebook group as well, I think there is often a lot of communication also, for example, during the second semester or the third semester, for example, and people say, I have a room, or there is a list, for example. I think you also made a list of potential.
Yeah, we made, but it's
not really,
there's not too much on it yet. But if you just join actually the Facebook groups for each location, like for Ghent, for example, the Facebook group is really active, and I mean that's just normal people subletting their rooms. So you don't need any official letter for that. I mean, just, be careful and follow the normal, like, don't send money until you've seen the place and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. And we have the question from John Wanjala. Yeah. Again, there, wait until you receive the correct information from Ghent University. No worries. We have lots of students that are older than 25, 24, and that got a room via Ghent University. I think this is simply because they don't kind of have you putting you in the list of the students that are kind of the IMBRSea ones that we expected. So don't worry too much. Diala Guerra, for the hosting in Brest, the website led me to 2 pages, but both were in French, and I'm not quite sure I know how to search for a place. Again, wait for the information from the University of Brest. Sometimes in Brest, it's true that some things are not fully translated in English, but the local coordinator, Olivier Gauthier, and his Justine, will provide you the right links to actually get there.
Maybe also on IMBRSea Compass, like the list I showed you with the practical guides for the universities, that also has usually links to their kind of housing recommendations.
Yeah. What is the workload during the week like? Yeah.
I think it depends on the university, but usually, like the first semester, there are a lot of theoretical classes, so it's quite busy. Yeah. Oviedo was also very busy in the second semester.
I think like the first semester was you have free time, but like compared to the second semester wherein it's shorter and you have few subjects to complete, so it's more of like a hectic schedule for the second semester.
So as you hear, quite busy, I think, the workload. Quite busy, but still doable to also keep a social life next to. That's what I see and what I hear sometimes.
For sure.
Is it possible, time-wise, to work part-time alongside the courses? So just, yeah.
I think it depends on the university, I guess, and on your
Determination.
and the time you need to
Yeah.
study. I mean, certainly working on the weekends, I guess, would be possible, or in the evenings. But I mean, I guess it'll just depend on which university you're in and kind of what your
So depends a lot also, for example, here in Ghent universities, there is student jobs, where students, let's say this year, but also in previous years, for example, and got into, and sometimes these are student jobs which you can do over lunch or in the evening, 1 or 2 hours. So it's depends a bit on your personal, let's say, situation and how well you're also prepared, let's say, for this. So is the summer school split up in 2 sessions, edition and edition 2, because the students are split up between the 2 dates, or do all students have to go to both editions? Luckily, no, you only have to go to 1 edition. And the reason that there's 2 editions is simply because the group is asked to break to make sure we can offer you a proper summer school. So the station can accommodate around 70-75 people in total. So we split up the group in 2 different subgroups. And then in that sense, you can go to. Or the specialization choice is definitive from now because I was accepted to my second choice, which is way less interesting for my professional project. Yes, specialization choices are definitive from now, unless, for example, there's a big group of students that cancels, for example, in one specialization track, and that we have positions again that open. We assigned the different mobilities according to your first and second choice, but also according to your final ranking. So we have evaluated everybody, we have ranked everybody, and we took this into consideration. Your professional project, professional practice project, does not necessarily have to be within one certain domain. Also, for example, your thesis can also be, again, something that is more related to, for example, the things that you have done originally. So it's not that we really restrict you on these personal experiences than in one direction. When do we receive a grant letter? Usually, I need it for my visa procedure. I know. The EU is providing us with these letters, and they promised us last week that this week we will receive them. So as soon as we get them from the EU, for example, we will forward them to all the ones that actually got awarded a scholarship. Next question is by Kate Stroh. You said you hold rooms for accommodation, right? How would that be organized, or how could I sign up for that? Again, I said we block rooms. That's at Ghent University. I'm not talking about the other university. But again, the advice is wait until people, let's say from each university, contact you with information on housing. So that's, and you may expect this in the coming weeks. And also on the website, if you go to the partner section, for example, you click on the partner, you will see different tabs where we have information, specific information on the housing already. How can I become included in the Facebook group? I think you have to subscribe to the Facebook group or kind of, and then from there, if you just look for IMBRSea, I think search for IMBRSea on Facebook, you will find the group and you can subscribe. We only have to accept you. Yeah? I haven't gotten an email from paying the invoice yet, and so this deadline, for example, so the invoice the email will come. So that's for the students that have applied in a later stage. That this is still today or tomorrow at the earliest it will be sent. The deadline for those that applied later will be a little bit later, but deadlines are important. So we cannot wait until somewhere mid-June to accept your payments, because else we compatible with other administrations as well, in order to make sure you're properly getting enrolled. So that first part of the invoice is really the key to get into the program. Next question is, do scholarship students also have to pay the invoice payment? Of course not, because the scholarship is actually used also part of it. You get a fee to pay your registration. I haven't received an invoice again, and this is coming. I want to pay my old fee in one invoice in July, and the deadline is tomorrow. Is it possible? Normally, it's not possible. We really ask you to pay you in 2 installments. Yeah. If we wait until July, we cannot guarantee you any more place in the program. So really do it, let's say at once. But let's say if you have more specific questions on this, yeah, maybe ask these in a direct email with specification of your reasons, yeah, to the general info of IMBRSea email. And next question is from Zinaba. Apart from the mobility grant semester 3, are there any other possible grants to get funds for self-sponsored students, also for non-EU students, whether it be work, pay to work, part-time jobs, visa-wise? Visa-wise, and let's say for Belgium, for example, you need a work permit as well. So before you get the work permit, it can take some time unless you ask. You have really to ask, I think, as soon as possible for that work permit, for example, if you come to Belgium, in order to be able to work. Other grants, the Erasmus grants, for example, the mobility grants, are really, again, depending on the university, the starting university. So, so we do not have any saying in awarding of these grants. We advise all the students to apply for a grant, but that's where it ends for us. So at some universities, the chances are higher than in other universities. But that again differs from year to year and availability of scholarship. For students with scholarship, also so mentioned that it includes visa and transportation costs. Does it include transport to the nearest embassy or just the visa fees? What you will get is, for people that have a scholarship, for example, you will get kind of just a mobility fee. So that will be paid once you are in Europe, yeah, not in advance. Once you are here, you will get this paid together with your first scholarship, first monthly scholarship, and with that budget, we assume you to cover all of it. So you don't have to keep, let's say, cost statements for every small thing you do. It's really something that you can follow like this. So far, I think we've gone through most of the questions. The professional practice is from April till June. Answer is yes. So the second semester starts after Christmas, somewhere mid-February, beginning of March, or it's most people do mid-February or beginning of February, yeah, until the Easter period. So until early April, and then after that until June, in that period of 2-3 months, actually you have to work, you have to do your professional practice, which takes 6 weeks. Yeah, thank you. 6 weeks at least. So you have, let's say, there's some time to be flexible on it. So then again, it depends on where you do your professional practice and how you negotiate them with your local supervisor. On when do you start? How many hours do you work per week for this kind of? Have more questions? Post them here. Do we get paid for professional practice? No. Yeah. So for the professional practice, you're not getting paid. That's very simple answer. As a self-sponsored student, do I need a health insurance? Depends where you come from. Let's say, well, it depends. You always need a health insurance in Europe, I think. Also, yeah. So the answer is always yes. And sometimes if you're a European student, for example, your local national health insurance, that scheme is sufficient. But that's really up to you how you deal with this. The offer we have from IMBRSea is one that was negotiated with or by Ghent University in the context of Erasmus Mundus programs, for example. And it's really, apparently, it's a good offer, costs or benefits related. So that's at least what I hear and what we witness. Will the exams in the second semester happen before the professional practice? Yes, all exams. So before you start on the professional practice, you should not have any duties anymore for in terms of courses for the first academic. If you have more questions, feel free to post them. If not, okay. Does it work when two students want to do the same professional practice? How is it decided which one gets it? It's a long explanation. The system works as such that you get a catalog and that you indicate in this catalog your top three,
Top
top
five.
five, even top five of professional practices, and you add a motivation, and then the supervisors can select both on your based on your CV and motivation, for example. They will say, okay, this one and this one and this one is eligible, and then we have a numerical model that does the best match between the request, for example, and the offer. And I don't know, let's say, did you get your first offer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine was a positive.
Yeah. So one got second offer, let's say, and the others first offer. So it really depends a bit on how this is distributed, let's say. Also, for some professional practices, you can also get more than one student that actually participates. And you redo a course or an exam. Yes, there are resets, don't worry. Resets for the first semester, for example, are organized a week before the annual symposium this year. Then all students come to one location, or, for example, are organized, for example, depending on local course regulations. Yeah? Where in France will the students be located who are going to the Sorbonne University in the second semester? Yes, you go to Marine Station, and I think the Marine Station is Banyuls.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Banyuls in the south of France. If you go to France in the second semester, for example, but also the third semester, at one of the marine stations, the accommodation is foreseen in the marine station. So the accommodation question is completely solved. Also, food, of course, and most of the stations is also this kind of a package with food included. We all usually start at the same time. If you can recommend how to get to Spain. I know in Spain, for example, first semester in Oviedo starts already the second or the first of September.
Yeah.
Yeah. So beginning of September. I will be there as well because at the start of each academic year from the coordination office, we try to meet all of you in person as well. So we do the tour of Europe to kind of say hello, and then to make sure we have more questions or things we can help you with, that these are helpful. Yeah, that's the amount to live. It's not only for rent of it's 1,000 euro per year. No, 1,000 euro per month with the scholarship, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not per year. University of the Algarve has orientation week before the start of classes. Do you know it's high importance to attend this week? Or are we able to arrive for the start of class? So it's a good question, and it's not obligatory. It's not obligatory to go there.
No, it's more to socialize. Very nice, but it's more to socialize than to really subject related or something like that.
Yeah. Well, there will be a starting activity anyway from IMBRSea. Let's say a moment where you have to be there, and I think that's the most important moment where you have to be there. So if you cannot make it for the orientation week, don't worry. But yeah, it's nice to learn how FARO works and what is possible in the area. Before we close this webinar, I think I also kind of needed to say that as soon as we close it, this video will also be put on the YouTube channel, so you can watch this again. You can share it also with your, for example, with family or whatever, people that will be involved closely with your studies, for example. So do not worry if you were too late, for example, or if things have been tricky to follow, so you can watch it again. And the presentation, if you want, we can also share it later on. In the second year, is it possible to make my master thesis in a different continent? If yes, is there financial help for self-funding students? You can make your thesis anywhere in the world, for example, but there is no additional support foreseen. Some promoters, for example, do have additional resources that they can use to support you in your thesis research. Yeah. Do you have any idea when classes will start at UBO France? I think it's also the first or second week of but you will be informed on this. Yeah. How can I have contact information about the University of Oviedo? I will attend my first year there and would like to arrange some issues. The contact details of every university are on the website. So if you go to the website and you go to the partners there, you will find also the local contact persons for this. Ghent does not have orientation weeks, but has 2 days where they start actually, where they introduce the program. Yeah. That's possible, the master thesis project, yeah, but that's things to discuss. Yeah. I feel we have to close this presentation because there is a fire alarm here going on. And we actually have to go on site. I'm very sorry for this. So, but advise is if you have more questions, yeah, please let us know by email, and then we can answer them. So sorry for the interruption, yeah, but there is indeed a fire alarm going on right now. Sorry for that. Yeah. Good luck, and hope to see you soon in September. And more information will come to you via email. Thank you very much. Bye bye.